It's the Switch 2 Direct. You've been watching through and waiting for Nintendo to finally announce the new 3D Mario. The stream's almost over and you're starting to have doubts, but then you see this. Except that's not how it went. For the longest time, Nintendo's teased a big new 3D Mario game before launching a new console. Mario Galaxy was shown at E3 2006, Mario Odyssey was shown at a Switch presentation, and Power Wash Simulator was shown at Spaceworld. So why haven't they shown us a new 3D Mario? When's it coming out? And what's it gonna look like? Nintendo has a bunch of different teams for making their games, known as Entertainment Planning and Development Divisions, or EPD for short. EPD3 works on The Legend of Zelda, EPD5 does games like Animal Crossing and Splatoon, and EPD9 works on Mario Kart. But there's one team that stands out above the rest. EPD Tokyo. The only team that's based in Tokyo is EPD8, and they're the ones responsible for Nintendo's flagship Mario game to show off their new console. Rumour has it that EPD8 were the ones behind the creation of the new Donkey Kong game, which makes sense given that it looks very similar to Odyssey, and clearly took inspiration from the game. So maybe this is what they've been working on for all these years. Maybe this is Nintendo's big 3D game. It's just not Mario. I don't think so. And you shouldn't either. We all know Nintendo's a very tight-lipped company, but that won't stop us from piecing together clues that they've given us over the years. To start with, it's been 8 years since Super Mario Odyssey, and I'm sorry DK, your game didn't take that long to make. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is currently Nintendo's most ambitious title, and even that only took 6 years to make. They've been working on something else. Reason number 2 is we may have seen a glimpse of what EPD Tokyo has been working on for the Switch 2 already. Back in 2021, Nintendo released a little game called Bowser's Fury on the Nintendo Switch, but this was only a pack-in title to go along with the re-release of 3D World. There's clearly a lot of thought put into it, and a bunch of stuff that we've never before seen in any Mario game. This was the first time we'd ever seen a truly open world Mario game, where instead of using a hub world to travel from one world to the next, you would physically travel there yourself, using one giant interconnected ocean. No level selectors, no teleporting around the place, just you and the 7 seas. 1 sea. This sparked theories that perhaps we were seeing a glimpse of what Nintendo was working on for the next big 3D Mario, and perhaps this was Nintendo experimenting with an open world Mario game. Fast forward to 2025, and Nintendo's going all in on open worlds. Thanks to the massive improvement in performance with the Switch 2, Nintendo's able to make Mario Kart World their biggest and most detailed open world game to date. Rather than going through 4 separate tracks like in Mario Kart 8, you literally drive yourself to the next race. Outside of racing though, you can just explore and do whatever you want. Either Nintendo subscribed to me, or I'm some kind of prophet because I predicted this a fifth of a decade ago. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. You may have noticed a big gaping hole at the end of the year for Nintendo's release schedule. This leads me to believe they're holding on to this theoretical Mario game to be released right in time for the holidays, where a bunch of people are going to be getting Switch 2s for Christmas. So we have a bunch of clues all pointing towards a brand new 3D Mario game to be launched within the next year or so. That's cool and all, but what would it look like? Thanks to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. If you're someone like me, finding the perfect gift for someone can be a bit chaotic. That's where Raycon's everyday earbuds come in. They're practical, stylish, and something that they'll actually use daily. With up to 32 hours of battery life, these earbuds keep up with me, whether I'm editing videos, gaming, or just escaping the holiday noise. And speaking of noise, their active noise cancellation is perfect for tuning out the chaos when I need to focus, or avoid hearing All I Want for Christmas Is You for like the 50th time. I'm a huge fan of how ergonomic they are. A lot of other earbuds just slip out my ear, but not Raycon's. They also feature multi-point connectivity, allowing you to seamlessly switch between devices, like your phone and your laptop. I've been loving these protective cases, which make them look even cooler. Plus, they're still fully compatible with wireless charging with the case on, so you can still get 90 minutes of battery from just 10 minutes of charging. But it gets better. They deliver all of these premium features at just half the price of other brands. So, grab a pair for someone special, or yourself. Go to buyraycon.com/endo to save big on the holidays and get up to 25% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 25% off everything at Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/endo. Thank you Raycon for being today's sponsor. And now, back to the video. To start with, we already know that each new 3D Mario game is basically a showcase for whatever new hardware it's launching on. So this game is going to look absolutely dashing on the Switch 2. The console is roughly 10 times more powerful than the original Switch, so I predict that this game is going to be 4K, support 120 FPS and 1080p, and take advantage of the fact that the Switch 2 can do some light ray tracing. This all makes for an incredible looking Mario game that we've never seen anything like before, with huge draw distances and a ton of detail. So finally, I can see every single pore in Mario's huge nose. Nintendo's been clicking the open world button on every major franchise recently. Paired with the Bowser's Fury theory, as well as more capable hardware, it follows that this new Mario game is going to be one huge world. On top of that, they're likely going to go back to their roots when it comes to visuals. Mario Wonder and Mario Kart World have given Mario a look that's reminiscent of his older designs, and they've made him much more expressive. On top of that, they've really dialed in the animations for anything that moves, really pushing the boundaries for game quality. Unlike other companies. So for this game, let's make it more Mario-y than something like Odyssey. We can do this by bringing back the classics like mushroom houses, OG Mario trees, and those tall hills with eyes, but with a fresh coat of paint. On top of that, we can include a bunch of areas inspired by previous games. One part of the world could bring back Bob-on Battlefield from Mario 64, and there could be an island inspired by the Super Mario World map. Breath of the Wild actually did a similar thing by adding Lon Lon Ranch and the Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time. For the Rocky biome, it could be inspired by the original Super Mario Bros. By making the ground look like that of the original, plus adding bricks and question blocks everywhere. This now feels much more like a Mario world than New York. However, any game can be thrown into an open world and be hailed for being revolutionary and the biggest game since the previous game. But there's always so much more that makes a new 3D Mario game new. Mario Sunshine introduced companions for Mario to go on adventures with, which became a staple for the series. Mario Galaxy introduced motion controls and co-op multiplayer, which became staples for the series. Mario Odyssey introduced DLC and better character control, which will become staples for the series. And of course, there's the open world nature of Bowser's Fury. So all of these things also have to be a part of our new 3D Mario. Plus, something entirely new. Given that our new game is going to be on a massive new world, Mario's going to need a new way to travel. So perhaps this game's mascot could be an animal that he could ride at any time. Taking this further, there will likely be some verticality to this game, so rather than just say, it can fly, it'd be much more interesting if you could get certain power-ups to help you with different terrain, like flying up to high things or swimming underwater. Whatever the new mascot is, it also needs to give Mario a new move, because not only did Flood spray things with the hose, it also allowed Mario to hover and fly. Same goes for Odyssey, where Cappy could be used to defeat enemies and act as a stepping stone for the player. But what about the twist? What could they possibly do that adds a new level of gameplay that was never before possible before the Switch 2? Mouse mode. Oh, sorry, that's a title. Yes, a mouse mode could be as simple as a new way to control the camera, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. They're gonna do some crazy shit. Controlling your companion, controlling objects, drawing things, the list goes on. This is disappointing, to be honest, let's be real here. It's just another gimmick that people are gonna get tired of, like motion controls. If only we could find something that's much cooler. If only we found something that's been staring us in the face this whole time. But that's never gonna happen. Oh my god! You. This is actually very likely, because we know that Nintendo's been investing in their online infrastructure in recent years, and they're really making a push for online features now. The world's first multiplayer mode in an open-world Mario game would be legitimately groundbreaking. Imagine exploring one giant world with your friends like in Mario Kart, messing around and trolling each other, playing the game in split screen or online. Even better, what if it supported game share, so only one person needed the game? If this happened, I genuinely think I'd implode. We've just made the perfect 3D Mario game, figured out what it could look like, predicted when it could come out, solved why we haven't seen it yet, and to top it all off, I didn't even bully Luigi in this video. Thanks for watching. If you want a similar video to this, click here.